right. It's time for the Dog and Chicken Show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Another episode of the Dog and Chicken Show. This is episode 10.
Yes, milestone 10.
Fucking 10. We're doing it. I've been drinking. Let's have some fun. We got some good stuff
Rest
for you
in
guys
peace,
tonight.
Billy Bob. We miss you.
Yes. We miss you. Damn, Billy Bob died to die. Anyway, I've had a stressful week. I don't know about you, T. I know you had some fun this week while I was slaving away at work and trying to get a ton of stuff done so I could scoot out some time and we could sit down and knock this out. You got to go on a nice little adventure. So where'd you go? What'd you do, man? What's tonight about?
Yeah, our topic tonight is covering our big investigation from Saturday evening. We traveled to, it's basically a little town called Scotch Grove, Iowa, a place called the Edinburgh Manor. It is a big 12,000 square foot building, 2 floors, big basement, lots of weird stuff going on. It's one I've had booked since I think last October. Finally came, the day finally arrived. We made the 6-hour trek out there and spent at least 12 hours there. It was a long one, and we're going to talk about that tonight.
So yeah. So those that don't know, Tony and I years ago had started a ghost hunting group. Is really a paranormal investigation, whatever you want to call it. We kind of started off as an interest into ghost stories and paranormal, and I grew up in a house that I always felt was haunted, and he's had experiences, I've had experiences, and we were just always curious about it. And of course, that was at the height of all the fun TV shows, and we're always, trend followers and not so much trend setters. That's kind of our MO. So we jumped on that bandwagon, damn it. But honestly, man, I had a lot of fun, especially when we first started. We got into a couple of really cool locations right off the bat, and got our feet wet with some really interesting cases to begin with. We came up with a pretty cool, and now I think about it, might be a generic name. I don't know, knock it, whatever, make fun of us. I still thought it was cool. We got ghostly research and investigations of the paranormal, or GRIP, as you see on Tony's shirt there.
Right here, established 2011, folks.
Damn right. But since then, I've moved around too many times, and my job's not very fun when it comes to hobbies and having fun outside of work. So Tony's kept it going though, and had some fun adventures. So is Edinburgh was your most recent? What'd you do right before that? Before we dive into your newest one, where you guys been since I've kind of departed from the group per se, and what kind of fun have you guys had up until this point?
Well, basically, it's been about a year since our last time getting to go out and do something. Me being kind of the linchpin organizing the whole thing and having 3 kids running around, I haven't been able to organize as well. So the last one we did was a place called the 1858 Hotel in Kansas, and the one just before that would have been the Malvern Manor, also in Iowa. You could throw a rock at Iowa and hit 3 places to visit. Can't do that in Nebraska, apparently, but keep got to driving, 4-6 hours in Iowa, and that's where we always end up. But we've been to a similar place, within a year, so we kind of knew what to expect going into this. We've gone to Waverly Hills since you've, been moving around from place to place. I want to say that was already 4 years ago, though. We were looking at some of the past cases on the way back. I'm like, I can't believe this has already been that long ago. And, we've been to Villisca a couple of times, it's either hit or miss. And the last time we were there, it was a huge hit. A lot of great K2 EMF interaction there that night. Waverly Hills was amazing. We actually discussed a return trip to that while we were coming back from Iowa. So that's kind of the big one I'm looking forward to. Hopefully revisiting here in the next, let's say 6, 7, 8, 9 months.
Awesome. Yeah, I got to join you guys for Velisca. That was probably, and that I don't know if that was the pinnacle of my time with Grip and anything that we done. I thought.
Well, that was our first trip. That was the first time we went. It was you and me and Jack went, and we split the time with another group called Spin that night. When we went back, it was a full crew of us, and that was the night we had some insane K2 stuff in the basement.
Yeah, and in that place, for me, whenever we went to these, I wasn't out to get any hocus pocus or any crazy stuff. For me, if that happened, cool, man. I was all about it, and I'm a little bit of a tech nerd and love digging into different thoughts and different programming. I remember I figured out how to hook up the Kinect camera and Kinect sensor for my Xbox 360 at the time to my laptop, so we could have depth censorship and we could have infrared and we could have the lasers all over the place, which was pretty cool. Whether it worked or not, I don't care. I thought that was pretty damn cool.
Yeah, that's one I want. Actually, I was hoping we need to kind of figure out a way to upgrade that idea of the Kinect camera, because that's becoming more and more of a commonplace apparently in the paranormal field. And the Kinect camera being able to chart a body, with the stick figure, showing it that way. So that's kind of something I was hoping maybe you could kind of guide me on. We need to get something like that up and running, because there's a few places I'd really like to take something like that.
Oh, for sure, man. I still got an old Kinect from my 360 laying around that I don't even use anymore. The technology's it hasn't upgraded a ton, but the software has. That's what you need is the software.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that'd be an easy one.
All right, cool.
So moving on from that was kind of a quick history lesson on our past with Grip and some paranormal research, which leads us to our main topic for the night. Of course, we'll have some fun stuff interjected in later on, but we're going to talk about Tony's recent visit. Is it Edinburgh Manor or Edinburgh? Am I pronouncing it wrong? I suck at words.
No, it's Edinburgh. The curator, the person who walked us through, she pronounced it Edinburgh, so we're going with that. Holy crap, I just saw an orb float across your screen, dude.
Oh my god, an orb.
Yeah, you know what we won't be talking about tonight? Orbs.
Thank God. Hey, yeah, paranormal investigators that enjoy orbs. Piss off, this one's not for you.
Yeah, that's part of the history of Grip, is we're very skeptic, scientific, and debunk stuff, and don't like to pee our pants whenever we see a piece of dust floating by the camera. Sorry, guys, if you're into that.
Yeah. If you're a Ghost Adventure fan, yeah, I get it. There's a lot of oh my god, but
we're gonna talk about that too, guys. Because
I got some
before
fun
we
stuff.
went, Ghost Adventures crew has been to Edinburgh, so that was part of our wonderful comparison between our investigation and theirs. But we'll talk about that after we get into it. If you would, though, why don't you delve into a little bit of the history for us? I got a link I sent you earlier. We're going to talk a bit about what the place was, where it started, and everything about it.
Yeah, for sure. So you got Edinburgh, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's originally the county seat of Jones County, Iowa, and so it was land located section 36. They called it the Wayne Township. So it was deeded to the courthouse for purposes. This was signed by President Buchanan. History buffs go back. Old President Buchanan. How did he die? Do you remember?
Oh, dude, that's going to be a Mandela effect. Don't ask me that.
Oh, okay. We'll have a follow-up on that. We'll skip
Yeah.
that portion. Yeah, we'll have to hold that one back. Anyway, so shortly after that change, the commissioners were able to keep a grant that they had put in place to establish a country poor farm. And what this was is described as a comfortable retreat for the lazy, able-bodied, and willingly dependent applicants, also known as a poor farm housed. They housed the poor is pretty much what this was.
Yeah.
Usually it entailed the incurably insane and disabled people back in that days, and this is like in the 1850s, folks.
I was going to say, yeah, you got to mention that because the description of incurably insane way back then is a much different animal now with modern medicine. So, a lot different, and these are, yeah, like you said, people who could work, lived there for the work they did.
Yeah. So again, established back. I think it was actually established in 1850. And this place ran until about 1910. And I've Tony, you sent me the one link. I looked at a couple others in the meantime afterwards. I've seen anywhere from 100 to over 150 documented possible deaths on the property related to patients in the building. So
yeah,
this
I was gonna say. We did, yeah. We kind of debated the numbers because you watch an episode of like Ghost Adventures, of course, the number's going to be like it's skyrocketing.
Oh yeah, it's like 300,000.
And then on that link, I think it was like 80 during the time of the Poor Farm. The interesting thing about it is there's so many documented deaths. You know, the number's different, but a lot of these people didn't get a proper burial. Like the field across the street, that's probably where a lot of them are buried. No markings, no headstones, and it's a field now.
Yep. Several unmarked graves there. God only knows what's in the ground over there. God bless any souls moved on through there. But in 1910, the Poor Farm closed down. It was actually demolished. I believe burned to the ground, if I read correctly. But then the Edinburgh Manor was constructed immediately after to house Incurably Insane again. And
noticing a pattern here.
Yeah, it maybe they burned down because it was just old, dilapidated, and decided they wanted an upgrade. I'm sure they were making money. You look at nursing homes nowadays, I'm sure they operated the same way. I don't know. I'm skeptical. Sorry. But still today, so this facility ran, I believe, until November 2010. So that's not that long ago, really. That's pretty recent. And from what I read, I believe, and I don't know, maybe you experienced this, and we can start diving into this a little bit. I believe from what I've read and what I've seen is you can still find medical documents in the building. I'm sure there's some HIPAA laws against that, and then personal belongings, other personal belongings found in there too, ranging from.
No, actually, it's funny. The documentation, a lot of that, when the people who own it now purchased it, and they got it on an auction, kind of on a whim. Once they acquired the deed, like that day or the next day, I think the county or the state or whoever came in and took like all that documentation. So that's gone. But the personal item stuff, yeah, when it closed in 2010, if it was there, it's still there.
Oh, that's good. At least the medical records are safe. So the thing, and I kind of touched on this before the episode when I was talking to Tony, kind of one-on-one. The thing that I don't like is it really doesn't talk about what happened to the patients, and you know what, I would love to hear about, the employees that worked there in the last, 10, 15 years. What was it like? What were the patients like? Where did the patients go? Who's taking care of them? Why was it shut down? I can't find that information in the short time I've been looking. Tony, you got anything on that? Did you look into that at all?
So yeah, some of the information you'd be wanting to know in regards to all that. A lot of that gets kind of discussed on our walkthrough, and I've got that video. I haven't quite got it on my computer yet. I was actually hoping to have it up and running so I could put some clips on, but a lot of that she delves into during our walkthrough. She talks about some of the people, some of the folklore stories of how some of the people died. But yeah, the main thing as being what happened when it closed in 2010, nobody really touches on it. Like the people that worked there, they found new jobs, obviously. Like the people in the surrounding towns, they went to work at jobs there. The patients and the people living there, I never really got a straight answer.
That's interesting. So not sure what happened and who was housed there. I wonder how many patients they even had at that point. And I'm sure if it was closing down, it was probably hitting the end of its life there, and they're probably bleeding out a little money, and that's probably why they closed down, or probably poor conditions of the building.
Yeah, I would assume the poor conditioning because I think mold was a big contributing factor. Like they've run humidifiers in there, and you can see when you look at the place, like the paint chipping off the walls bad because of all the humidity being in there over the years.
Gotcha. And yeah, that's an old building. Almost what, about 100 years old before they shut it down.
Yeah.
So 110 years old now. So I don't know, Tony. Give me a walkthrough. I was always one that was really interested in the setup of it. Like, what'd you guys focus on? What were the fun facts that you guys wanted to try to, or things you wanted to capture? Like, how was your setup go? Where'd you set up cameras? What was the backstory? What were some experiences and things you were trying to go after?
Okay, so yeah, like you just alluded to, a big portion of an investigation, at least it pertains to our process, is the walkthrough. It's very important. We need to know where we're going. We need to know the layout while it's still light out before we shut lights off. We need to know where we're going to set our stuff up at. Very important. We know we get to learn about the history, the hot spots, where to expect things to happen. And this one, this was not a disappointing walkthrough at all. Amazingly, well, maybe not so much amazingly. Actually, it happens a lot, unfortunately, but it was probably its most interactive during the walkthrough. And maybe that's because she was there with us showing us the place, and it's familiar with her, so it was kind of in tune with her being there. Maybe that's what it was. But yeah, we had a lot of activity during the walkthrough. Essentially, there's just a little room when you first walk in. It's kind of right in the first main little hallway. That's where we got to set up our stuff. And then it's a very normal setup, no crazy map. There's a lot of offshoot rooms that don't really make sense, and we kind of forgot about a couple because you look down the hall, you see an empty room, and you forget that links to another room. But other than that, it's your typical one lane here from the main door, as the picture shows. Room.
So, like, offshoot rooms? Are you talking like Winchester Manor type offshoot rooms?
Oh, I wish I'd still be in there if that was the case. No, mostly like once you go down the back hallway, like you see the front of the place, it's just big hallway. You got rooms on either side, and then you go. It does like a little U shape, and those rooms in the back were kind of like the wings because it was segregated, men and women for the most part. During its last incarnation, so you'd have little like lounge areas where they could play games and just be and interact with each other.
Yeah, so, you don't want those crazy old men around them crazy old ladies. You get a lot of crazy, you know what going on.
So yeah, we did our walkthrough. We kind of toured the first hot spot. There was a room with like 5 beds in it, a little girl named Susie, and that is the actual name. There is a documented case of a death of a girl named Susie, so that one I made sure to ask because sometimes they just nickname them names. That was the first one, and then the next room I believe was room 200, and it would be the big hotspot room on that floor. The one of the other owners, he stayed the night there, and he had his dog with him, and during that the dog was freaking out. A couple of times throughout the night, he felt his foot being grabbed, like grabbed, and very interesting stuff there. Honestly, we were going to sleep inside of it, but it was so damn hot that there's just no way. It was way too hot. Obviously, there's no AC in this place, so we had to sleep in a little conjoining house behind it. Unfortunately,
Gotcha.
I didn't want to wake up in a pool of sweat. But anyway,
yeah. So who all do you have with you? Because from what I understand, you kind of got a whole brand new team on this trip than what I remember. Who we took with. So who'd you have? Who's in charge of what? And who had the coolest experiences you think so far?
Who went with us? Jeff, actually, and you know Jeff. We investigated his house like 2-3 times when he lived in Lincoln. He actually moved to Hickman, and he's been going on a lot of them with us. He's really picked up the process. He's recording his own audio. He's having a lot of fun doing it. And then Janae and Carly, who've also gone on some of the bigger ones, like to Waverly Hills. So Janae's been with us about the time you were phasing into your next step and moving around. She was coming in, so she's been pretty seasoned too. But it was just the 4 of us. Jordan didn't get to go with us, unfortunately, and he's usually our big tech guy. He has the setup figured out in his mind before we even get done with the walkthrough. So we kind of had to go without that portion of it on our own, but it wasn't a big problem because we didn't have a lot of big visual spots. Those 2 rooms were ones that we hit, and then the next floor, kind of the same thing. Like, this might be a hot room, this one might not be, but there were 2 on opposite sides of this other hallway. I want to say that was the second floor. One has red curtains in it, and the other has blue curtains in it. So obviously distinguishable. They just both had a different vibe to it.
So is this like old school Bloods Crips?
No, yeah, right. I know. Damn, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, all those Scotch.
I'm thinking of old gangsters sitting in this place
Scotch
in the
Grove,
middle
Iowa.
of Iowa. This is where Biggie and Tupac ended up going after they died.
Yeah. Oh, this ain't middle Iowa. This is about as far east as you can get. If Iowa were a straight state, we would have been in Illinois. We're just in that little nub.
Is it like way over by? Oh, what is that? Is it Davenport that's on the river over there?
Past Des Moines.
I'm trying to think.
Like Monticello was a name I recognized. We actually went and got stuff over there.
Is that Monticello or Monticello? I don't know. I suck with words. Sorry.
But yeah, it's way across the state. So the other in that room, the blue curtain room, I think there was like spirits of ladies would be seen in some chairs, and then on the other side in the red curtain room, people seen figures. And actually, when we were setting up the equipment, I had Carly taking a reel down for one of the IR cams, and she looked over in there, and she saw a figure of a man. We had a camera set up in there. It wasn't plugged in yet, obviously, so we didn't get to catch that on camera, if it is what she saw. I said, oh, no, surely that's just the camera on the tripod. She's like, no, it was thicker than that. So, you know me, trying to debunk everything. But during the walkthrough is when we probably got our most vicious interaction, if you call it. The basement, it's a big circle. And then you've got a couple little offshoots here and there on either side. But the basement's huge. The kitchen's down there. And right next to the kitchen, there is a room, with a table. It almost looks like a medical procedure room, but it's not. And essentially, the presence that's there, it's been called the Joker for a number of years. No, Zach Baggins did not coin that. A figure, a dark, scrawny, tall, thick. It's very imposing. The way she described it is anybody who has, space problems. You don't like people in your bubble, it's going to mess with you the most. Well, yeah, that happened. That'd be Carly, and she got to experience that firsthand because she stood there, and as the lady was explaining that stuff, before that even happened, I think, she actually felt a bit of a feeling of this.
So she felt the choke, or at least some pressure, maybe not a choke.
Yes,
she
pressure.
had some kind of feeling or pressure on her neck. So
Right.
outside of that, so like from what I understand, this entity, if you want to call it that, or whatever presence that you feel. Oh my God, I don't want to quote Ghost Adventures, but they described it as Slenderman.
Yeah, so there's that. Okay, guys, I am a big fan of creepypasta stories. I read them a lot. Slender Man's a classic. Stop it. People, stop it. Slender Man is a creepypasta. There is no Slender Man, okay? It's a story. So no, but yes, that is the comparison.
in that description, at least, of what
Yes.
people would picture Slenderman of being, this is what it's supposed to be.
Right,
like.
essentially. Like, this thing crawls across the floor, it hides in the corners, it comes rushing up onto you. And I'll be honest, like, the vibe down there when she was giving us the walkthrough, it was heavy, it was weird. You felt something off. And at the time, I'm getting little tickle pinches on my elbow, on my ankle, like, okay. And then Jeff and I would hear something down the hall. They'd continue with the tour, so we'd run over here, check that out, see what's going on. Can't find anything. But we finished the tour. She gives us free reign of the place, for hours on end. We finished that up. We started our setup. We did that, and then basically we started around 9 p.m. I've got basically a 6-hour audio file I'm going through right now that was just a stationary throughout the time.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
rough.
It is, but there's a lot of noises here and there. It's a big old building, so I'm hearing a lot of clicks, a lot of thunks, in the distance. But I'm like an hour in, and already I'm I'm questioning a few, so I'm really excited for all the audio. But like I said, we did all night. You know, you'd get little pinch tickles, but you try to write that off immediately. At least I do. The thing about it, though, at one point, I think, yeah, it was the basement. Actually, right there where Carly was getting her pressure on her neck. Much later in the evening, I was doing a different, I'll get into it later, but I was doing a bit of a different investigative technique we'd never tried. And I had just my left arm. It didn't feel like anybody squeezed it or pinched it or anything. It just got really numb. Mind you, I drove for 6 hours, but this is like 5 hours later. It felt like it would feel if you like did this for a long drive, right? Or you slept on it wrong. It was numb to that effect. And it lasted a couple of minutes. It was just weird. It was one of those things that never happened to me. I can't explain it off the top of my head. I'm not going to chalk it up to the Joker attacking me. I didn't have any scratches. I didn't have any bruises or anything like that. And mind you, towards the end of the night, I was provoking the ever-living hell out of this thing, trying to get it to do something. It decided not to mess with me. Go figure, because I'm such a badass.
Well, yeah, look out. Tony's gonna... Sorry.
I know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
I already know what's in your head. You don't even have to say it. I know.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're thinking. But no, like Jeff was here and stuff throughout the night. We'd have some weird things happen. Some stuff would bang. We'd go running after, looking for it. It was one of those things where you hear and sense a lot of stuff, but you can't get right up next to it. No weird K2 spikes. We did go live on Facebook a few times, and for any of you investigators out there listening to this, if you go live on Facebook, because it's a great platform to let people kind of see what you're doing during the investigation process. It's awesome. I like it. People seem to really enjoy it. If you do that, your K2 is completely and utterly worthless. The feed it's the same wavelength, and it makes the K2 go absolutely insane.
Yeah. I actually saw you guys go live on there. I don't remember what time it was. I just happened to be sitting out in my garage, and I was like, "Oh, hey, cool! I'm gonna check this out." And then I saw you like, "Well," and I saw the K2 light just going crazy. You're like, "Well, this thing's worthless."
Yep.
I was like, okay. He knows exactly what I was thinking.
Yep. No, and and I should have remembered that because we did that at Edinburgh Manor, and I'd completely forgotten about it. And the range is amazing. When you go live, that range is insane. That K2 picks it up. So keep that in mind, guys. Your data, you've got to look for these false positives. And I did all night. And unfortunately, no crazy interactive spikes. There were a few times though we did get some interactive knocks, but nothing consistent enough to really classify as interaction. And as the night went on, you get more accustomed, you get more comfortable in a place like this, and you get the layout figured out. It's a lot less imposing. And personally, I've come to the conclusion that I'm just a lot less intimidated by a place like this in the dark, because it doesn't matter if you're in Villisca, a tiny little house like that, or you're in Waverly Hills. Everywhere looks the same in the dark. It's during the day it looks different.
Yeah, I found myself in that situation by the time when I was still with you guys and going on every trip I could. By the time we got to Villisca, I was already at that stage of
desensitized.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I was super desensitized. Like,
Yeah.
It wasn't creepy to me at all. I'm like, yeah, I can go into this little creepy space. Yeah, I'll go into this little attic.
Yeah.
I'll go into this closet. I don't really care. Like, I was not creeped out at all. I was just kind of like, man, I really hope somebody pokes me in the butt right now. Like,
Right, exactly.
anything. Like,
Yeah.
I was just...
No,
anything
I
would have
feel
been
you.
great because I, like you said, desensitized to it. But
I
that's
am
what
too.
happens when you go to a lot of places and you don't. So anybody who's watching has never been on a ghost hunt or actually spoke to anybody who's actually tried to do anything like this. 99% of the time, most people would fall asleep.
Yeah.
There's
Jordan
nothing.
has.
Nothing-
Jordan has fallen asleep while watching the DVR. We left him alone to watch it, and he fell asleep while watching it one time.
That
We
doesn't-
radioed him like 3 times, like, Jordan. Yeah. You asleep?
Yeah,
No.
that doesn't surprise me with Jordan. Yeah.
But yeah, it is. I get so desensitized. Like, this place was different. Like, it'd been a while. I needed to shake the cobwebs out. And in hindsight, looking back on the drive, I'm like, man, I wish I'd have done this different and this different and this different. So I need to shake the cobwebs out. At first, I was a little intimidated, but yeah, it shakes right off, and I'm right back to being desensitized. I mean, when we started this thing in 2011, like, when it was just you and me, just starting this thing up, yeah, it was kind of a little freaky going to different places, even if it was just a little house. But after a while, you know, in 2015, I think it was, we went to Waverly Hills. I'm laying in a morgue drawer. I never thought I'd be doing that, and here I am today. Yeah, I'm yeah, like you said, just desensitized incredibly to it. So it takes a lot to impress me. It basically is what I'm getting to, and I'm the big skeptic. Well, Jordan's an even bigger skeptic than me, but I had to play that role for him since he wasn't on this. And anytime like Carly would feel something, or Janae would hear something, or Jeff would think of something, I'm like, I gotta rule it out here. I gotta do this. And now we're going through all the footage doing the same thing. But gosh, let's see. The one thing I want to touch on, a fun little thing we tried on this one, like you know the obelisk tool that spits out the random words, right? Like, you know how,
yeah, I've seen that one.
Okay, and Ghost Adventures uses the hell out of that, right? Because it's very impressive. It's super impressive.
Because apparently that thing is 100% accurate too.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have one of those. Guess what? You don't need to spend like $300 on one, because Janae did this. Download free obelisk on her phone. So we tried it just to mess with it, see if it do anything. Nothing there. But what I've been using for years, is originally it was called a spirit box, and all it does is an AM/FM transmitter. And if anybody's familiar with the white noise theory of spirits being able to communicate via white noise, that's what this is doing. It uses the radio frequencies to pick words out of the different stations to formulate interaction. It's never worked. It has never worked at all. Jordan hates it when I turn the thing on.
Yeah, I always hated it when you used it too, because the white noise static. And then when it did like make a noise, I was like, I could hear like a freaking announcer at a baseball game. And I'm sorry, folks. I know baseball's all American, but God, I hate listening to it on the radio. It's the worst thing in the world. And Tony would play the spirit box, and it'd be like 10:30, 11:30 at night, and you'd hear this home run, like, and then surrounded by white noise. I just wanted to go out and shut the damn thing off.
I know. I've gone away from using it a lot because, yeah, it doesn't work. It's one of those things that's fun in theory, but it just didn't work. Well, that changed on this one, because she was looking up different new little fun things. Like, I need to add to the arsenal. It's been a while. Like I said, established 2011. I'm probably a little out of date, right? I need to reinvent myself, add a few things
You're
things
getting
to the arsenal.
old, T. You're getting
know.
old.
I know. So I need a few more tricks up my sleeve. Well, Janae found, now I can't even think of the name, but the Estes method, I think was the name of it. And basically, what you do is you have one person doing your normal EVP questions. You sit in a room. If anybody doesn't understand, EVP is electronic voice phenomenon. And that's where you get imprints of audio, either audible to your ear, only audible to a recorder, or both, or neither, interactive via knocks, so on and so forth, right? That's the basic EVP session. You ask questions in a dark room, hoping to get a response, a touch, something. Well, we're doing the normal EVP session in... we basically did it everywhere. We tried this in a lot of places, but they're doing the EVP questionnaire, asking, what's your name, how old are you, can you see us, how many of this are you male or female, what's your name, etc. Meanwhile, I'm sitting close by with the spirit box with earbuds plugged into it, so only I can hear it, and I can't hear them. So I'm listening to it, and if I hear an audible word that's not, if I actually hear a word that's an actual audible, a full word, I would say it out loud. So while they're doing their questions, I'm acting as the obelisk via the white noise inclusion that only I can hear. And a few times, believe it or not, it was a little interactive. Like the words I was spitting out randomly, unbeknownst to me, I can't hear them, would actually make a little bit of sense into the questions they ask. Now, granted, half the time I'm talking over them because I can't hear them. But We
So
did
you're just that rude guy in the corner interrupting everybody?
Yes, exactly. I am. They're telling a story, and I'm just like, 4 of you, corn cob. Yeah. Most time it doesn't make sense.
Ah, I bet corn cob came up a couple times. You're in Iowa.
I know, right? But yeah, it was kind of an interesting little way to do it. Nobody else could stand to listen to it but me, so I did it the whole time. But one of them was kind of cool. We were outside of room number 204, and I'd said out loud I didn't realize where we were. I didn't know what they were asking. I think they said something along the lines of, where are we? And I said 20 and then 4 not long after. So it was kind of you can connect some dots there, I guess. But then some of the other words were actually in tune with the questions that they were asking, unbeknownst to me. So that was kind of cool. And we went down to the basement. And I mean, this is after Carly's being assaulted, groped, choked, whatever. So she still toughed it out and stayed the whole thing through. Went back down there with us several times, and we did that same method down there. And I didn't even hear it because I had these things cranked up so I couldn't hear these guys, right? As I'm asking questions, something would happen, or they're asking questions, something would happen. I'd see them react to it, and I'd have to go, what happened, guys? So at one point, whatever they asked, believe it or not, something winged across the room. Something crashed. Something hit something. We couldn't see it. It's pitch black. But something hit something. And this would be in the dining roomish area of the basement, I believe.
Yeah.
So that was kind of awesome. I didn't freak out because I didn't hear it.
Well, so you mentioned that Mr. Zach Beggins and Ghost Adventures had been there prior to you guys showing up.
Yes.
What versus his incredible experience?
Well, there you have.
What did the property tell you about him and their group?
Yeah.
And what were your experiences versus them? And then we'll play some fun videos to see how yours compared.
So yeah, that was one of the things, because we've been to Villisca and Waverly Hills, so have they. But those are more famous spots. Like a lot of people have been to those. This thing's only been open to ghost hunts since I think 2012. So it's fairly new.
Fairly new in the ghost hunting thought.
Right. It's an up and comer, if you will. So they'd been there maybe a year or so ago. Season 11. Now we know that because we had to watch it.
They're way past season 11. I thought they were in like season 26.
No, there's no way.
No, I'll look it up. You keep talking. I'll let you know.
So yeah, they told us a little bit about how that operation works. Like they showed up on a Monday, and I think their investigation was on Wednesday night. And they're over the top, demanding. You've got he's the host, he's the producer.
I don't know if you can see
trying
it
to
on my
show me a
phone.
screen.
They're up to season 18.
Holy crap! Wow.
Oh, crap. It went to a different thing. Yeah, they're up to season 18, folks.
Okay, that's even more depressing. But anyway, so their process is this, and they're like, well, why don't you get some locals to come in as extras, and then they film their little vignettes, like in this case was the people walking across the field. And I actually think the person that led us around, she might have been one of those people. But they had all these extras. They do all that stuff. And the night they were there was some bad storms, so maybe that freaked them out. I don't know. But apparently, I don't want to, pull the curtain up and reveal too much, but they didn't stay very long the night of the investigation. Now, mind you, they were there for like 3 days. I'll give them that. But as far as investigation goes, like the whole process is they get locked in, right?
So they didn't investigate. They hung around and filmed a bunch of locals to make a TV show, and then they got locked in until what time? What time?
I don't know. They left. I think I want to say 1:30. It was after midnight, but it wasn't super early into the morning. Like, because normally 3 o'clock, the witching hour, that's a big thing, right? They were gone before that, apparently. So I don't know. So if you watch the episode, like they really had to do
Zach Baggins calling your ass out.
Yeah.
Pussy.
Sorry, not sorry. So I think they had to do a lot of fill-in stuff because some of that stuff, like the crazy stuff, happened I think towards the end of the episode, but it probably happened before. I don't know. They got freaked out. They left. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe she's elaborating. I don't know. I like it, though. It makes me laugh. It makes me smile because we didn't leave till 7 a.m.
Nice. Well, I suppose without just I suppose we need to just skip to the fun part here. We're gonna make fun of these guys a little bit.
So once we delve
are we gonna make fun of them, or are they just gonna make fun of themselves?
Well, we don't have to do a lot. That's the beauty of this. Now, mind you, like we watched when we went and ate after we got done setting up. We went and watched half this episode. We watched the other half on the way home during the drive, and I audibly laughed like 2-3 times, really, really loud. And the other, 80% of it, I'm just getting so frustrated because their process is so over the top compared to how we do things.
Yeah. Okay. Without any further ado, folks, here's clip number 1 we want to share with you on Ghost Adventures version of Edinburgh Manor. Now, if you have Hulu, folks, it's I believe it's episode 1 on season 11.
Yes.
Just the first 15-second opener. Oh dear God! I was walking into work today and watching that, and I was giggling like a schoolgirl, going, "Oh, this is gonna be great!" Like this is the worst and the best all at the same time. Tony, you described it just like that. You were absolutely correct. So, all right. Here is, about a minute into the first episode. Just a nice little sample to start you off with, nice and soft.
Holy awesome. It's weird, as we pulled up, sometimes those first sights of the building, you get like flash images. It's like the energy of the building is just resonating so strong. It lets you kind of tap into the visions of the energy inside. And it was like, as we were pulling in, it's like I could just see all the people that have died in this building just standing in every single window.
So was
There's
that the group
one of his crew in there filming out the window as that car pulled up. I could feel the energy inside there.
Was that the group of people he hired to stand in all the windows? Is that what they spent 3 days doing?
Yeah, like I said, they had to get a bunch of extras to come and, film these little vignettes. They're just locals wanting to be on TV. So yeah, there you go. There's part of it.
Oh God. Dear. This guy's a piece of work. The next one I got for you, Tony. So it's only 2 minutes later in the clip or into the video. So he interviews some guy that he meets when he first gets there in the episode, and then some local chick that had been in there, and she agrees to go back in. The part and maybe I missed it. So I'm looking from time marker about 1 minute in to time marker about 3 minutes in. So not a lot of time lapse here. I don't see the spot where he explains why he's wearing a mask. Now, maybe he's trying to be Bane. Maybe he just watched Batman. Maybe he's all excited about that movie. Now, granted, this is a year or oh God, when was this? When did he visit Edinburgh Manor?
I would assume almost 2 years ago. I think it aired like a year ago. I don't know. But part of that, I believe he has a bit of asthma, maybe. I don't know. And I have seen other people's YouTube videos where they were wearing masks. So, not to this extent, not the respirator.
Yeah, so this is amazing, folks. Get ready. So not only okay, so oh man. I'm going to stop sharing real quick. So, Tony, when me and you first started doing this, and honestly, this is just a human being thought process. If I was ever going to say, hey, let's go into this place, let's talk about a couple of things, let's look into a couple of things, I don't know if either of us would ever pull in a local or any other person and put them at harm in any way, shape, or form.
No.
But in this clip, he seems proud that. Now, granted, this is a little scratch on the chick's neck. Whatever, boo-hoo. But still, there's the potential if any of this is real and if anybody could get harmed. He is all for this because, guess what? He is Mr. Clickbait himself, just trying to get people to pay attention.
Yeah.
Quick thoughts before I start this one.
Yeah, no, you don't do that to people. You just don't. That's it.
Zach, you're a dick.
He is a dick.
All right, here we go.
The manor. Hannah collided with a dark energy that literally took her breath away.
I couldn't breathe at all, and it was scary, like not knowing like why I couldn't breathe or like what was doing it to me.
What area of the room did it happen?
I was
So it says respirator to prevent the inhalation of contaminants, but she's fine.
Yep, she's fine.
She's just fine.
standing right here. My brother was sitting on the bed along with my mom, and then I just ended up having to leave the room because I couldn't do it anymore.
Did it feel like something was doing that to you, Hannah?
It felt like there was a strong pressure on my throat.
It felt like a hand?
Mm-hmm.
It felt like a hand.
He
Do you
sounds
feel
like
my
he's a
hand?
freaking drive-through worker. I can't understand what he's saying.
Yeah. He's like, do you feel my hand, Hannah? All right, continuing.
Hannah felt pressure on her neck as if being choked. Could she have disturbed the evil that has driven many here to force themselves on the vulnerable?
How brave are you feeling today?
What are you asking?
I want to leave you up here by yourself for a couple minutes.
I'll try for as long as I can.
I love hearing all these stories of everybody, but the reason we're here is we're trying to document real-time proof of this.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to document real-time proof of him being a douche.
He's succeeded in that time and time again.
So, I'm not going to continue playing because it's...
So, yeah, basically, from here, he sets her in a chair, and she goes and sits there alone in the building she got assaulted in by herself. And then, yes, she gets choked. Miraculously, it happens immediately. She comes outside, there's stuff on her neck. Yeah, okay, so does that coincide with what happened to us? Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe a little bit. Like, so, you know, there might be a little credence to the choking thing, but then again...
The problem I have with it is the power of suggestion. I'm fairly
Exactly. That's where I was going with this. It's like he's leading her into, you know, oh, what happened last time you were here? You brave enough to do it again? What do you think's going to happen? I'm like, oh. And then the part that pissed me off with this clip, and I suppose I could back up and show it again, but after she walks away with this scratch on her neck, I'll save you the pain and anguish, T. I'm sorry. Yeah. But when she walks away, he's like, well, I guess that's what everybody should know. If you interview with us in a haunted place, you're going to walk away with the scratch. Like, he's a badass for it? Like, dude, what is wrong with you?
I still remember the first time you showed me this show, and he was talking to the homeowner, and they said, well, try not to make anything angry. And then it cuts to him, and he's like, oh, I'm going to piss it off. Rule number one, dickhead. Don't do that. You don't leave a place in worse shape than you found it. Rule one.
Yeah. Why don't you just take a baseball bat to my TV, computer, and just, you know, go... Why don't you piss on my bed while you're there? I don't care. Just knock holes in the wall and windows. Just ruin my house while you're at it. You know, if whether you believe in ghosts and spirits and any of that, whatever, just the fact that it's disrespectful, and he doesn't give two shits.
No, he doesn't care. He does not care. He is absolutely just a makeshift celebrity, and he does not give a damn.
Hey, he is a self-made makeshift celebrity. Give him that.
Just go to the next one.
The next one's this might be my favorite.
All right.
Okay, so what's going on in this clip, little preview, is he's like walking around with this, like, I don't know if it's like a depth sensor or IR camera or whatever.
I think this is the same kind of concept as like the Kinect camera. Like,
Yeah,
why?
so-
I'll admit, it looks cool.
Yeah, it could be pretty cool, but he's holding, and so all you see on his cameras, he's holding his audio recorder
Yeah,
against
he's got
the
the
wall.
EVP box. That's like what you see most is the EVP box. But they've got that camera, and yeah, it like charts figures. If you see like
Right.
us, it charts the figure via Stickman.
So he's holding this recorder up against probably about 2 inches away from a wall, and you can kind of see, and it's discolored. So the black portion of this, when I play it, is the recorder that's in his hand. The blue portion, to me, looks like possibly the shadow on the wall that's being picked up by whatever camera he's got here. Whatever, I could be wrong, but it's not that is so great. He's so fascinated with that piece of it. I want you to pay attention to his buddy, especially when you hear the word pulse. All right, let's do this.
Is this some sort of frequency pulse that's resonating from the shockwave of energy we felt, which also...
Oh, hopefully everybody saw that. I can back that up just to make sure.
Oh, please do.
Oh, that's fantastic. So maybe I'll go a couple seconds earlier, just in case you need that extra second.
And there was a little teeny tiny figure that was over here. And as soon as that happened, this thing just went out.
Right after I ask the spirits if they want alcohol, it seems as if a shockwave of energy shoots out of the room and into the hallway, both affecting Aaron's heart rate and disabling the SLS camera. Adding to this chain of events, the last image to appear on the SLS camera is a small figure right in front of my digital recorder, which also captures this very strange sound. Is this some sort of frequency pulse that's resonating from the shockwave of energy we felt, which also...
He checked his fucking pulse.
I can assure you, folks.
He's got a bunch of robots working for him. Like,
Even-
is this a energy pulse? Hold on, let me check.
Oh, man.
Hold on, let me see if I have a pulse.
You know what's messed up? I've gotten like probably almost a dozen emails over the years from, you know, like your A&E biography, stuff like that. Like these channels, they email paranormal groups hoping that they have a horrifying experience that they are more than willing to over dramatize, that they can put you on camera, you cry, and show your horrific experience and how evil and demonic stuff is. This guy basically has that same formula, but he's lucky enough that crazy demon shit happens to him everywhere he goes.
Yeah, he's just that lucky, I'm telling you.
Yeah, lucky, that's it. Yes, lucky.
Well, so here's the best. We're saving the best for last because he's got such an amazing crew and such reliable folks that, you know, really are tough investigators that really dig in and really pay attention to their surroundings and stay calm when something really happens, when something really goes down. They just keep their cool. And this is probably the best example I've seen, you know, whether you're in the medical field or you know, police or military, whatever it is, you gotta keep your cool. This dude, give him whatever job you want. This guy should work for the Secret Service with this type of high level of keeping it cool. Here we go.
Oh, man.
Jim, do you like it here? At the manor? Oh my God!
Let's go.
I can't! It's too much! Oh my God!
Should we do it again?
Yeah.
Jim, do you like it here? At the manor? Oh my God!
Let's go.
That's my new favorite clip ever.
Oh my That's so great. Like they hyped it up for me before I watched it, so I knew it was gonna be good. But it even exceeded my expectations. That was amazing. Like I almost feel bad for the guy, but
he's gonna catch hell for the rest of his life.
Well, yeah. No, that's the thing though. But it's like this every episode. Like this happens every episode. Some crazy unseen demon throws something against the wall, possesses somebody, scratches, chokes somebody. Like, that happens every episode. So, no, he won't, because, yeah, that's just another day at the office, man. Hey, I'm going to hide in the freaking corner and throw this piece of glass I found on the fucking floor. You freak out like you don't know I'm here. Or maybe he's such a big of a dick, he actually does go hide and doesn't tell these guys that he's about to stage his own evidence. There's no way. And then at the same time, here I am saying that, and yet that's the same area where we had something, fall, fly, whatever. So, I don't know. Did something fly, fall on the TV show? People, you've got to understand. These TV shows, they are working on the exact same system that all other TV shows are, and that is built on money and ratings.
Fake news? Is that what you're talking about? Is this all fake news?
It's kind of the same concept. Like, nobody's watching a Ghost Hunter show starring me. Because I'm going to sit there and I'm going to piss on all the evidence, piss on all the personal experiences and go, no, you don't understand. It was this, led to this, and the car drove by the window. That's why there's a shadow. This thing fell. That's what that noise was. It wasn't secured properly. Your electrical grounding is terrible. That's why you're feeling paranoid in this room. And those three things I just listed are actual things that have happened and we've debunked. Nobody wants to watch that. You know what they want to watch? They want to watch... Oh my God! They want to watch that.
Yeah, they want drama. They want craziness. They want fantasy. Nobody wants the reality. And the reality is the world sucks, and if you want to do something about it, you have to get off your goddamn ass and do something about it. So
that's right.
Sorry about that, folks. Hopefully that inspires you.
Yeah. We are nothing more than here to inspire and give goodwill to others and make you go out and reach for the stars. The more you know. The more you know.
So, the more you know. I think we wrap up at least this segment. I know we got more to talk about and more things to go on to, but let's wrap up this segment. Final thoughts on your investigation, your final thoughts on Ghost Adventures, and then we'll move on to the rest of it, man.
So yeah, Edinburgh Manor. It is a very cool place. I would say it's the second biggest place. Actually, I'm gonna have to look. I wonder how big Farrar Schoolhouse is, because we've been there twice. You've been there. You went with us.
Yeah, Farrar was a big place, man. That was kind of a cool place.
But I think a lot of that square footage is because it's an old school and there's a big, basketball court.
Yeah, there's a gymnasium downstairs, and there's like 2 levels of actual schoolhouse above that. So yeah, if I remember, it was 3 stories, wasn't it?
Yeah. While I'm rambling, look that up. I'm curious. But yeah, I want to say it's the second biggest place. Like I said, 12,000 square foot, huge. It's a very cool place. It's very much well kept as far as how it was when it closed down. Like I said, all the possessions, everybody left. It sat there like that. It's a very cool place. There is definitely, in a few places, some odd energy, and we were lucky enough to at least have one of us, if not a few of us, feel some things happen. But I like to have some K2 interaction. I like to have some really concrete interactive knocking, something along those lines to really drive it home that I can comfortably say that you've got activity. If I would have gotten choked, I'd be sitting here telling you it's haunted, but no, probably not. I'm probably full of crap. But it is definitely one of those places, like, even though it's a 6-hour drive for us, I do want to go back because it's so big, it's so interesting. Like, there's an attic, and we didn't even make it into the attic, almost because we kind of got sidetracked by the basement and some other stuff. So there's more ground to cover. There's more stuff to experience. I'd love to go back.
Cool. Yeah, so I looked it up real quick. Farrar, 17,000 square foot.
Wow. Well, the gymnasium's got to account for how much of that? Probably
a third, easy.
Yeah, so I guess if you want to get technical and talk just like floor pattern, this place would be bigger. Like, not
There's
quite.
more places to look.
Yeah, because that gymnasium in Ferrari, you can't do shit with that. You can go sit in the middle of it for about 5 minutes tops, and then you're like, okay, this is stupid. There's an echo. I'm getting nowhere.
Yeah.
But
No.
no, yeah, okay, so it's third biggest place we've been, but it's still, I would say just in the sheer imposing feel of it, it's probably second.
Cool. No, so yeah, we're approaching 10-year anniversary of Grip, so we're gonna have to plan something big, and I'm gonna have to come back and join you guys. And we'll have to make a big event out of this. But folks, Tony's gonna have some videos and pictures and everything uploaded pretty soon. You're gonna have it on the website, Facebook page, all that. Where you want to plug it? Where can folks go see it after you get everything up and running? Probably here in the next couple days, I assume. I know some of this stuff takes multiple days before you even get to start reviewing it. So that's the best part about these is after you finish these investigations, it a week later you're still coming up with cool stuff. So where can they find it, T? Website, Facebook page, all that good stuff. Plug it.
Yeah, we're going to have everything as we find it. I'm going to try to get it up and online as quickly as possible. Like, usually I do a big, full investigation video and put it on YouTube. But I'll probably just do clips this time just so we can get stuff out there for people and have it viewable so people can see it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
We're going to pause.
Gotta love them pugs. Somebody's about to get the ass whooped over there in Tony's house.
And cut. So yeah,
that's good. I covered and filled that one pretty good. You ain't gotta worry about no cut.
Oh, come on!
I
really?
just talked about kicking your dog's ass or something like that.
No, you cannot leave that on there because people are gonna think I beat the crap out of animals, and that's
what you don't. What is wrong with you?
No, I'm a nice guy. I like my dogs. They just bark at everything. Anyway, so we got this stuff online. It's going to be on ghostryrip.org. That link takes you right to our Facebook page. And we're also on YouTube, Grip Paranormal. Check it out. We're going to have all the video stuff on there. I'll be putting clips and pictures are already up on the Facebook page. Really cool place. Really cool stuff to see on there. So check that out. Definitely keep following us for any updates on this case and what we're going to be doing in the future.
Awesome, man. So, that's the end of this segment, folks. We're going to change our style up a little bit as we're in episode 10 here. So you get the big story here, and then all the little funny tidbits we're going to give you kind of throughout the week and kind of give you little sprinkles of joy as you have your drive or sitting in the office, whatever you're doing. I like those sprinkles of joy. I look forward to sprinkles of joy.
Well, when I came back from this, I had a really fun little personal story that happened to me upon my arrival home from the ghost hunt.
Yeah. What? So this is on your way back from Iowa, right?
Right.
So you had a 6-hour drive home. What happened?
Yeah, so it's a 6-hour drive out there, and then obviously the 6-hour drive back. I got about let's say 2 hours of sleep, and then we drive back. So from driving back, leaving at 7 a.m., I got home right around 2 p.m. As I pull up into the driveway of my house, I see a little, 3 by 5 inch notepad piece of paper taped to my garage door.
Like a Post-it note? 3 by 5 inches? That's a big Post-it.
Like a note card, size Post-it type little piece of paper.
It's like something you have to use in social studies when you had to prepare a speech.
Yeah, exactly. Note cards, something like that. Not a big piece of paper, just a little piece of paper taped to my garage door. And all it says on it is the word, I win. So instantly, I know what's about to happen to me, but a little backstory here. Do you remember 10 years ago, the ESPN commercials are always really funny, right? You remember all the funny satire ESPN commercials.
Back when the ESPN was cool, yeah.
When it was watchable, yeah. Do you remember the one where they'd show like multiple little scenarios and one was about Alabama Crimson Tide? And they'd get like the best man speech. Well, he didn't lose his virginity till he was 25 years old and then roll Tide. Remember that one?
Yeah, I remember those. I know what you're talking about.
So yeah, that commercial specifically, like my brother and I found it hilarious. for whatever reason, because it was funny. So ever since then, we'd tell each other, "Oh, roll tide, roll tide." And then it elevated into a game where I would leave a note for him, he'd leave a note for me of roll tide, roll tide. He'd post it on the bathroom door of work, or he'd carve it into something, and it just kind of grew and snowballed from there. And one time I even took a big pallet slip, which is a big piece of cardboard, and I spray painted roll tide on it, and I put it inside of a grain bin, and it's dark in those things, and I made him get in there to do something, and you can't see anything. So as his eyes are adjusting to the light, he's getting in there, and he goes, "Oh, there's something in here. Wait, what is it? Hang on, I can't." "Oh, you son of a bitch!" And he instantly starts laughing. He's like, it's hilarious. So he takes it out, he throws it out, whatever. I take it, I put it in the back of his truck. Don't tell him. And then he's going around the curves of McCool Junction, 55 mile an hour at the time, going around on this highway. It flies out. He gets pulled over because it flies out the back of his truck.
Roll Tide. That's what
So
you get.
he had to get out, go get it, and put it back in his truck. And the cop's like, "Really? Roll Tide? Don't ask, man." So up until this point, that was the best one.
So up until now, you were winning.
Up until now, I was winning. And then I came back from a 6-hour drive in Iowa, and on my door is "I win." And I knew instantly. And I even chuckled to myself, like, I know what I'm about to walk into. I wish I would have saved the video, because I walked in just doing video. I walk in, as the door opens, this is the best part, as the garage door opens, there's a massive oak tag poster that just says "Roll Tide." And I can just see more and more of it as the garage door goes up. And I'm like, that's definitely not the end of it. Nope. I come in the house. Every window and mirror in the place, dry erase marker, Roll Tide graffiti all over it. Yeah, that notepad paper I told you about, he bought that fresh. A fresh stack. Every last one in that stack, Roll Tide, roll, Alabama, Bama, written on these notepads and scattered on every room and every floor of my house. Like, I went into the bathroom, you lift up the toilet seat, it says "Roll Tide." You take the tank top off underneath, "Roll Tide." On my shelf with beer bottles on it, inside shit, "Roll Tide." Inside the microwave, "Roll Tide." Fridge, freezer, cupboards, inside cups. All the Nebraska memorabilia I've got downstairs, "Roll Tide." It was masterful. And his wife has much better penmanship than he does, I must say. Because she actually drew out on a poster-sized board the elephant and a couple of the hillbillies with the "Row Tide," ROWW. It was incredible. I got to give him a hats off. Like, if you've seen Impractical Jokers, the episode where Joe gets his entire house done with wrapping paper, it was a lot like this. I'm like, I might as well just move. That'd be easier than cleaning this up.
Yeah. So I just pulled up his Facebook page. He did post a little video of there.
Ah, perfect.
Let me share what he's got on here. Let me get this. I gotta get my screen all adjusted here. I thought we were done sharing videos there after the Mr. Zach Baggins fun stuff. Let's see, portion of screen. Forgive me, folks. This will take just 1 second. I'll get this pulled up. I got to just adjust
yes.
record area. Here we go. So here's a little picture of what Tony's talking about. So obviously down in his den, his Husker den, it's covered in Roll Tide stickers and markings everywhere.
Yeah. Yep. Everything.
Everywhere. Nice.
Oh, it was impressive. I can't be mad. I can't. Like I said, that one was nice. I'm keeping
good
that
job.
one.
Good job, chick.
I win, motherfucker.
I actually hadn't
Love
seen
it.
that.
Love
I hadn't
it.
seen that until just now, so thank you for that. That's hilarious. Oh, that's great. Yeah, so basically now the game just goes up from here. So now I've got to come up with something much better, and I've already got the gears working, so it's going to be awesome.
So we're moving to level 10 now.
Oh yeah, we are moving up to level 10. Clearance card, dangerous.
Awesome. Good stuff. Nice little tidbit there. All right, I think we're gonna wrap at least this portion up, and I think we got some good stuff coming throughout the week here. But yeah, hey folks, thanks for tuning in. As always, like, share, subscribe. Thanks for joining T. Some good stories, some good stuff.
Absolutely.
Go check out Grip on Facebook and the website. Tony, anything for the ladies and gents at home before we sign off on there?
Yeah, no, this was a lot of fun. Hopefully we're going to be doing a lot more ghost hunts, a lot more consistently. I got a few leads to check out, so like you said, like, share, subscribe to this show for sure. The Dog and Chicken Show on YouTube, Spotify, Google Play, Apple Music, all that good stuff. But yeah, ghostryrip.org. That'll take you to the Facebook page. Like and follow there, because I've fallen off a bit on updating daily, weekly. But when we're doing cases, we got a lot of stuff to post and a lot of fun stuff. And especially, like I said before, we go live during the investigation. Follow us there. It's going to be a lot of fun. You won't regret it if you're into the paranormal. And give us a like anyway, because numbers are key.
Awesome. So yeah, promised a fun episode 10. Hopefully we delivered for you. Let us know what you think. And as always, appreciate you folks. Love you. Bye.
Bye.